And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to episode 104 of Player Life. It is Thursday, the 22nd of April here in Tokyo, Japan. Um, Gabber E in the house says konbanwa. Konbanwa to you too. Hope you are well. Konbanwa indeed. Uh, Many ways to say hello in Japanese, depending on the time of day. If it's the morning, today's Japanese lesson. If it's the morning, usually people say Ohayo. If you want to be really polite about it, they say Ohayo gozaimasu. Um, if it's the afternoon, they say Konnichiwa. Most people know the Konnichiwa, but Gabrielle on point with the Konbanwa. That means good evening, or hello, basically at night. So many different ways to say things in Japanese. In English, we just say hello or what's up. But Rishi in the house, what is good? What is up? What is good? But yeah, languages are interesting. Languages are interesting. Um, Languages definitely, countries that lose their language, that have lost their language, kind of lose their soul. They lose, like, a sign that a country has been defeated is when they lose their language. That's why when I lived in Ireland, I was pretty hardcore about, most people, even Irish people, most Irish people cannot speak Irish. It's I think it's the most pathetic thing ever. A lot of Irish people blame the British, colonization and all that, but the reality is, they did obviously colonize Ireland for a long time. However, there's no excuse for not taking your country back and learning your own language. Ireland got independence in 1922. Uh, it's now 2021, so that is almost 100 years ago, 99 years ago. Um, some people say Ireland got independence in 1916 when there was an uprising. But still, my point is, vast majority of people in Ireland cannot speak Irish, and they still go on about blaming the British people, even though for generations upon generations, we've been able to run our own country, and people are just too fucking stupid to be able to, like, learn their own language. Yeah, it's the most, it boils my piss. It's one of the most embarrassing things. We're one of the only Ireland is only one of the only European countries, like, that doesn't, that never doesn't have its own language. Well, it does have its own language. It has a Gaelic language, but people are too stupid to be able to speak it. And then they'd rather just shift the blame to England. Oh, easy to, oh, we were colonized. Oh, we had all this. Oh, yeah, you're dumb. You can't speak your own language. So when I lived in Ireland, I went out of my way to learn it, and I went and spoke it with certain people. So I can speak Irish, but yeah, I went on a bit of a rant there, but yeah, I was gonna say, there's a phrase in Irish, and it means "Cheer gan anam, cheer gan changa," and it means country without a language is a country without a soul. Like, it's a sign of defeat. Like, you've been defeated. If a country invades your country and they make you learn another language, and like, they eradicate that language and make you speak a foreign language, you've been defeated. You have been defeated. Irish people don't like to accept that, but I think there's much bigger fish to fry than the British. Britain isn't even an empire anymore. It's not what it was. Um, there's way more bigger enemies than Britain for Ireland right now. Ireland has been just completely demoralized, completely wrecked little country. But the Fighting Irish, one of the biggest myths ever strewn around. It's not an actual thing. Anyone who the Irish that used to fight, the rebels, the people who fought for independence, were always an extreme minority. The Fighting Irish is an absolute bullshit myth, and I'm saying that as someone who's proud of the old Irish history and whatnot, but I'm interested in truth. I'm not interested in dispelling shit lies, because most Irish people these days are absolute pussies. Um, yeah, that wouldn't, they're bringing in all these hate speech laws and all this bullshit. Can't stand up for shit. They're going on about white privilege and all this shit in Ireland, where like, it just boils my piss. But Time Traveler says, "Good morning. Irish Gaelic is a great sounding language. Yeah, I like the language. I mean, I'm a fan of languages. You know, it's a real shame that people are too ignorant, too stupid. I don't know. Um, yeah, it's a complicated thing, I guess. But reality is, there's been plenty of time to take the bull by the horns and establish your culture again. But Ireland wasn't able to do that, and it should have been, because it's a small enough country. It shouldn't have been that hard. But my main point is, I don't like the constantly shifting the blame to other people, like, oh, yeah, complaining about things that happened hundreds of years ago, you know, or like decades and decades ago, you know. Look at Japan. Look at what happened in Japan, like Second World War. The country was completely like burnt out, like destroyed. Same with Germany. Obviously they brought it on themselves, but the point is their countries were completely destroyed, and that was like in the 40s, in the 40s in the Second World War. So like, it's not even that long ago, and now they're like totally, they've just obviously they built up within a few decades. So just like this constant thing about blaming history, stuff that happened like hundreds of years ago, or stuff that, like, every country has done something bad. Like every culture, I was like, my people were oppressed. Oh, I was like, oh, I suffered because shut the fuck up. You didn't suffer shit. Like, you know what I mean? Unless you were the one that was oppressed yourself, you didn't really suffer anything. That's why we have all this like oppression Olympics. Like all these people, it's a particular problem in America because it's so multicultural. You know, people like to talk. They don't really, they don't really have an identity, so they latch on to like stuff that happened like whatever, like hundreds of years ago, or at least at the very least like decades ago, and they pretend that they've suffered because of it. And these emo motherfuckers getting all emo about shit that they didn't really experience themselves. um just fucking annoying. um Elta says dates are weird things because you have to leave your male brain behind. Occasionally, your rational male brain kicks in, and you realize what you're talking about is utterly stupid. Yeah, that's true. So today, I was just thinking, you know, guys have to stop trying. Like, I know it can be tempting sometimes, but even when you're communicating with women, you really have to like realize that remember that you're not talking to a dude. You're not talking to your buddy. You're not talking to your pal. You're not talking to your whatever. Like, it's not a dude you're talking to. It's not one of your red pill dude friends that you're talking to. You can just like start talking about whatever. You're not like these. All these things will just fly over these. It'll just confuse these women. They'll think they'll get weirded out, or at the very least, they're going to get weirded out, and at the very worst, they're going to get confrontational and emotional about it. When you're on dates with chicks, you avoid politics. You avoid like all these like emotional kind of subjects that require too much thought and deep thinking, or too much logic and rationale. anything that involves rationale and logic on a date, avoid. Avoid. Like, the best case, the thing is, the kind of vibe you should be getting into on a date is like a vibe of like joking and kind of stupidity. I know, you're just kind of gonna have to accept that, but I don't mean you're gonna like be a clown or anything, but like when you kind of can just start talking nonsense and you can make a girl laugh and kind of, whatever, make fun of the situation, or come up with some kind of joke, or make fun of something, um, whatever it may be. Um, I can't think of a scenario right now, but I mean, it's just talking nonsense like you do when you're high or something. Think about when if you've ever been stoned. Maybe you've never been stoned, but like think about the kind of shit that you talk about when you've just hit a bong, and that's the kind of vibe you get into when you're on a date. Um, just kind of gibberish, stuff that doesn't really go anywhere, but it doesn't. It's not going to go down any rabbit holes where you're going to get confrontational with a bitch. Um, obviously, I mean, obviously you shouldn't be going on, like, when it comes to girls that are, if they're like super progressive and like you know uh whatever, lefty, feminazi kind, you should be kind of trying to avoid those chicks like at all costs. But if it's a thing where you're like, okay, I know she's a fucking idiot, but she's super hot, I'm never gonna date this chick, um, but you still want to smash just because she's hot, and you might have met her on a dating app or whatever, and you're like, yeah, she's real, she's showing all these red flags. Definitely not, wouldn't date her in a million years, even though she's hot. Um, you know, you can whatever, you can just bullshit them, um, bite your tongue, you know, bring your game. Don't get too confrontational with them, and smash and dash kind of thing, and just have your fun, and be done with it. To be honest, when I meet girls that are, if I ever get into a situation where I know the girl's an absolute lunatic, but she's hot, like she is just like a fire ass or something, I just want to smash. It's happened plenty of times, like where it's like, oh man, this girl is not like, I would like, I'm not into it. Like, I mean, she's hot physically, everything's good, but just the political nonsense that's coming out, and there's red flags coming out here and there. She might have dropped something about a woman's march, or dropped something about a patriarchy, and it's like, oh dude, no way. But occasionally I'll bite my tongue, and we'll have a successful date, and I'll take her home and smash, and then I'll never see her again, and I'll be happy not to. It's just a thing. Like going on dates, like even with your girlfriends. I mean, even if you have a girlfriend, if you have some plates, there's no point trying to red pill them. Like, it's obviously, if it's a thing where they're, like I said, if they're, you know, if they're spouting shit at you, and they're like obnoxious and annoying, and you shouldn't have girls like that as plates anyway. But girls that are just kind of innocent, and not, don't get political with you, don't bother trying to like tell them about, red pill, and tell them what's up, because there's nothing beneficial that's going to come of it. They're just going to be confused or weirded out, and they're not going to understand it. Not going to understand the rationale behind it. Know your worth in house. What's up? What's up? See, Jules, you can speak Gaelic. I can speak Gaelic. crazily not. Yeah, I made a big effort to speak it. I've been in Japan for like 6 years now. So quite honestly, my Japanese is probably much better than my Irish, but I was fluent in Irish. I can still speak it, but if I was put on the spot to like have a conversation, I'd probably make a bunch of mistakes, or no, I'd probably include a lot of Japanese into it. But I can speak it, yeah. I'll put it shortly, because I made an effort to speak it. See, Joel says, "Damn, I legit not met anyone that could speak Gaelic. I mean, most Irish people can't speak it." So I'll say this in Irish. An chuid is módas na hairní ní féidir lo Gaelic a labhairt. It's more an trua é sin. Nah, I can still speak it. Yeah. But so I just translated what you said there in Irish. I basically said that. Yeah, but I don't know. Irish people like to make excuses, like, "Oh yeah, the British colonized us, and we didn't do that. We couldn't teach the Irish. We've had independence for 100 years. Like, shut the fuck up, fucking idiots. They're just like too lazy, or just didn't put in enough effort to learn the language. They teach it in schools. I mean, there's no excuse. I mean, it's taught in schools. I'll admit it's taught shitly in schools, but I mean, it's there's plenty of resources to learn it. I mean, the road signs are in Irish. There's Irish literature. There's Irish TV programs. There's Irish radio. There's no reason you shouldn't. But the vast majority of Irish people couldn't even have a conversation in Irish. Farhan says, "Has it ever happened to you that one of your plates found your YouTube?" Yes, it has. Yes, it has. And funny enough, that happened. And she went a little crazy. She couldn't really understand what it was about, like, because she was Japanese. She didn't really know what it was about. But then she clicked on the links and found my website. And then she found out, I think she put two and two together. And yeah, she saw the photos and things. She must have used a bit, but yeah, she was totally devastated and traumatized by it. But like, honestly, it's so funny. When she found out about it, she came over, and I was like, "What?" Like, she never did this before. I was just in, like, she came over real early one morning. It was like a Saturday morning or something, and someone rang my my doorbell. And like, it's kind of weird that sometimes people come around trying to sell things, and I don't answer it, but they rang it, and then I just didn't. I was in bed. It was like 8 a.m. or something on a Saturday morning, and I just left it. And then it rang again, so it's kind of I was kind of freaked out. I was like, "Who the fuck is coming to?" Because people don't do that in Japan. Like, they don't. I was like, the cops after me or something. something happened. Like, so it rang like twice, like 2 minutes later, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I went down, and I opened it. Like, I cautiously kind of opened the door, and there was no one there. And then I was, "What the fuck?" And then my plate jumped out from behind the door. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And she came in, and she was just like asking me, like, she basically was like trying to get me to, like, she was asking me, "What do I do? Something? Do I have a YouTube?" And I was like, "Well, how the fuck did she find out about it?" Because I never told her. I guess who knows? I don't know. Maybe she saw a notification from my Instagram. I really don't know. These girls are detectives, like, real. If they're really into you, they'll find out about you. But yeah, she did. She found out about it, and she found out. She was like heartbroken. She started crying. But yeah, we still smashed. Still smashed when she came over. And yeah, this was a kind of I really don't care. I mean, I don't care if girls find out about it. As long you know what I mean. It doesn't bother me, but as long as it doesn't affect my life. I mean, as long as I don't get, you know, as long as I don't suffer any repercussions because of it. But you know, that's I'm putting myself out here. I'm putting myself online and spitting truth. So uh, people don't like that. So they you know they get offended by it. But Christian in the house, what is good? What is up? Yeah, but she really I think I almost let her go. It was she didn't even like want to like she was a plate and had her around, but like she was one of these good Japanese girls. She was one of these girls that like um I picked up from day game, and day game retention is way higher, way higher. I genuinely this girl wasn't she wasn't a garden tool at all. So I really messed with this girl for sure. She was like yeah, because she wasn't on dating apps or anything. Um, one of these country Japanese girls, but like pretty cute. But yeah, I kind of like I can sometimes I don't have many morals, but sometimes when the girls are like getting too like I don't pimp them out when they're like super like genuine. Like when some girls get like too into me, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet or anything, but when they get too into me and they're too like they're full of hopes and dreams about the future, it's just like shit. I mean, it's not gonna happen. So sometimes I cut them loose and it's like, okay, you're gonna have to go your own way because I'm not gonna waste your time. Uh, only when they're good girls. Only when they're like they have a sweet heart. Like you know, it might sound crazy that I'm speaking like this about chicks, but it's no some girls like it's not about like hating women. It's like on this channel, it's about teaching men about like the reality of female nature. But there are good girls out there, like as in, but they're still females. You still have to understand female nature. But my point is, um, I'll cut them loose if they get too attached or and they're not bad. They haven't done anything to me to you know when I see I almost when I have my with my plates I almost prefer when they're bad bitches like naughty little bitches like because I won't feel any guilt whatsoever for whatever for all the games I play. Zero because I know they're bad little bitches too. So that's me. Um, I don't. It's almost like a turn off for me when these girls are too sweet, too genuine, too into me. I get a little. Yeah, it's a bit of an anti boner because it's like oh you already like you're just like breaking their heart. I prefer a little like what turns me on if she's a bad little bitch and she's misbehaving and she's like you just know she's like being um that's just it just works out because you know can become a little bit of a burden. Trust me, when these if girls become too attached, it can become a little bit. They can definitely become. Uh, you know, they can get get involved in your life and things. Um, and they can get in the way of things. Can start cock blocking you. I mean, yeah, but that's certainly I just wouldn't let it get that far. I just nip it in the bud. I'm like, okay. I tell them straight up, like, look, this is who I am. Like, I'm not the, you better cut out all this, all your hopes and dreams with me about this happily ever married kind of thing with me because that's not gonna happen. Not with me. So I guess I know at least. I guess yeah, that's a clear indication that I'm not a psychopath. I'm not. I'm actually. I do have some decency. I do have a little bit. Nah, but so I'll cut them loose rather than just wasting their time. Uh, I'll I'll play with the bad little bitches because I know they're doing the same thing. But yeah, guys, when you're on dates, just, you know, don't even go down. Like, don't even. It can be tempting. I've done it. I've done it a few times, like where even myself. But it's like it's really pointless endeavor trying to like have a base discussion with a chick, um, because you're just gonna you have those kind of conversations with your guy friends when you're chilling with girls. That's not the time to talk about guy stuff. They're just not going to get it. The conversation's not even going to be that good. Um, Even if you think you're having a good conversation, even if they're talking about some interesting things, just know that their pussy's drying up at the same time. They might look engaged. They might be getting, but it's you're not going to be uh, making them more sexually attracted to you. It's just the little random things that you say that'll make a girl like you, or like the random little jokes that you make, the things you talk about food or travel, or just honestly, it might sound boring, but it can be fun if you have a good vibe with a girl. And honestly, it's kind of refreshing too. Sometimes when you get you know sometimes with your guy friends, it's like you're talking about stuff that matters a lot of the time. Like, it can be serious, it can be fun too, but the thing that can be enjoyable with chicks is that it's totally different. You're not talking about the same kind of things. You're creating some kind of you know I don't know, it's just a different kind of bond by talking about stupid nonsense um with girls. Uh, Javier says, "Sweet nothings and laughing when RP truths are revealed is how you operate on dates." Indeed, indeed. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So let's see. See, Joel says, "Girls really do just want to talk about drivel." Indeed, indeed, they do. Uh, and how few women are in crypto. Yeah, it's just counter to red pill truths are just counter to women's imperative. They go against their whole imperative is to try and get one over men, biologically speaking. So it makes sense that they're not gonna want to accept it. It's all pretty much bad news for women. Red pill truths are not comforting truths. They're not comforting. In a lot of ways, it's just a lot better to be a man, like to be born a man. Like women have a lot of advantages in the gynocentric society, but there's like every single one of you guys in this chat, every single time, if you had a chance, what are you going to choose? To be born a girl or a boy? Obviously, 100%. All of you are going to choose to be a man, even in this gynocentric society, even with all these advantages that women have, and all the delusion and all the craziness. You're still going to choose to be a man. Like the biggest losers out of all of this wokeness and all this bullshit is actually going to be women. Like, they're the ones that are actually going to be the least unhappy, or that are going to be the most unhappy. Like, they're because they're not getting to realize their femininity, their female nature. They're not going to. There's going to be millions and millions of women that never get to realize their female nature, as in they're never going to get to reproduce. They're never going to get to experience growing a baby inside their belly. They're not going to get to experience like giving birth. They're going to miss that, but they know it. They know like deep down they know that they're missing that, and they're still going on with this delusion. And they're just going to be real. They're going to miss out real bad. Gabrielle says ETH 2,500. Good stuff. Good stuff. Going up. Going to the moon, baby. Going to the moon. Good time to be in crypto. Good time. It's wild time indeed. Wish I got in sooner, but never too well. No, it could be it can be too late. But I got in. My bags are packed. My crypto bags are packed. Not for this bull run. My bags are packed, I'd say. C. Joel says, because RP truths are uncomfortable and contrary to the mainstream narrative, and very few women are willing to put their neck out against the mainstream narrative. Yes, indeed, because women want to be socially accepted by the crowd. That's their women, as Richard Cooper says, women wait at the finishing line and pick the winners. So women, they look at the situation and they think, which side is most likely going to win? Women are never going to go with the underdog. Like, they're not going to go with the guy that's the underdog. They're going to look at the situation. They're going to look at two fighters. Imagine two men fighting. And like, who's the guy that's going to win? She's going to like pick the guy that she thinks is going to win. And that's what's happening in Western society. Women are looking at the political situation and they see lefties winning, and they're going hard with leftism. I'm sure the same thing was happening in Nazi Germany. I'd say the women were like, there's stories of like, the Nazis invading France and all these countries, and the French women, hooking out, like marrying Nazis and betraying their Frenchmen and whatever. I think many European countries, there's stories like that where the women betrayed and married people that killed their fathers, their brothers, their sons, war brides. And it's just sometimes it's like, whoa, shit. Imagine, a man could never do that, Man could never do that. Like, really could not. So, female nature is different. It is different. As Roald Tomasi calls it, solipsism. It's like maybe another word for narcissism, but narcissism is more like solipsism is basically, it is in female nature as a survival method. So it's not necessarily a disorder. Elta says, even the women who end up having children will end up doing it with the guy they know is substandard. Yes, absolutely. A lot of women, most women are missing the boat, but the few that get on the boat, that do settle down, settle for a guy, they're often settling for the beta guys, because the beta guys are the only kind of guys that are kind of willing to put up with these girls, because the alpha guys kind of know that they're not going to want to settle with a 34-year-old. They're not going to want to get married and have children with a 34-year-old. So who is? It's going to be the average kind of beta guy that has an average kind of job that will be willing to support her and knock her up. But the same girl wouldn't have touched this guy back when she was 21 at her peak. She wouldn't have pissed on him. And but yeah, that's the thing. This is playing out now. We're saying like the few women that actually do settle down later, they're often with real beta guys. But most women will not settle. They'll be like, they'll hold out. It'll be like it's basically greediness. Like, it's like in crypto, it's like crypto analogy. seen as running the bull run. And a lot of people are probably involved in crypto in here, but you know, holding on to your bags too long and then you get wrecked. You know, when it dumps, when the bear market comes around because you got too greedy. That's what these women are doing. Like they're holding on. They think that they're going to get better with time, and it's like no, nope, no, you're wrong. Not this time. Spark 55 major alt season is cooking up. Tasty gains, guys. Tasty gains to be had. Oh my god. A lot of rich people getting rich this year, but a lot of people are going to get wrecked too. That's for sure. That is for sure. Some people are going to lose because for people to get rich, some people have to lose too. So there's going to be people who get greedy. There's going to be people who fuck up. It's going to be bad news, but hopefully that's not going to be me. I'm staying very yeah, very my fingers are on the trigger at all times. You know, but at the same time you got to have diamond hands, so it's a bit of a, you know, Javier says women want to be socially accepted while seeking the socially unacceptable. Interesting point there, indeed. Elta says usually women get together with guys they see as alpha, have a ton of broken relationships, end up in their 30s and have to settle. Most chicks I know are gone at 28, 29. See, Joe says, I'm really happy that the RP space and crypto has so much overlap, to be honest. I couldn't think of a better demographic to increase their financial success. It is very good. You know, it's you know, MLD had a big part to play in that. You know, I think his channel is one of the only like dating channels that was also doing like crypto, had a crypto show. So that's why in these circles we see such an overlap, and you know, it's just I've used the analogy. MLD has talked about it before, but you know, that we were out in MLD and I went to last year during the height of the, like, you know, just originally when the first lockdown happened in Japan. It was like one of their only proper lockdowns, but like it was, everyone went on lockdown, but we just did our own thing, and we went off like, although there was a lockdown, you could still travel in Japan. Like they didn't ban it, they didn't ban anything like that. So we went off like to an island down, it's called Okinawa, like way down south. And like I got on a flight, like a full whatever, I don't know, full like jet, and it was I don't know, whatever, passenger plane, but it was I don't know how much it could have held, but like hundreds of people. But there was like 10 people on the flight, maybe less. It was empty. Like it was empty. And I just said to MLD, this is a representation of the red pill. This is like, this represents like us in society. This is us. Like this is how many people are RP aware. Is tiny amount of people. You know, and I think that you know, this situation, you know, that's what's happened in the past year has definitely woken up a lot more people, but definitely it's still vast minority. You know, it has woken up, it has expanded the, you know, it has red pilled more people. However, it's still very small percentage of the overall population who are awake, who are, you know, but yeah. Javier says, my dad always tells me to never take a woman over 25 seriously. Yeah, in Japan they call women that are not unmarried by 25 Christmas cakes. You know, it's Japan's pretty based in some sense, in some ways. they're very honest about their appreciation for femininity and female beauty. They're very aware of it. Very, very aware of it. Uh, but let me see. Let me just share something I saw. I saw this article, and I want to like scan over it. I don't know if I'll read the whole thing, but it might be a bit of a funny read. Do, do, do. Okay, so Laura Bates, men going their own way, the rise of a toxic male separatist movement. Separatist movement. Oh my God, men going their own way. Um, she looks like crazy. She has crazy eyes. Um, she looks really, you know, she looks quite annoying. This is the type of girl I would not want to go on a date with. Definitely not. So it says the men of the MGTOW movement aim to live their lives with no female contact. The idea began on the fringes of the internet, so has it made it all the way to the White House. I guess I'm definitely not MGTOW then, because I definitely have a lot of female contact, and it's a good time. There has been an awakening, changing the world one man at a time. These are the dramatic words that appear when you visit MGTOW.com in a video that looks a lot like an action movie trailer. The words are soon followed by five more that appear to smash through the screen, smoldering fiery red, men going their own way. Well, I mean, it is understandable why men are going their own way in Western societies, because just how underappreciated they are, and how under attack they are for being just men. For being a straight man, you get like attacked by all the mainstream media, constantly. Like, if you stumbled across this website and had never heard of men going their own way before, you would probably assume this was a tiny extreme movement. But you would only be half right. The views of MGTOW are indeed unorthodox, even within the sprawling web of groups, lifestyles, and cults known as the manosphere, where women haters mobilized against a supposed gynocentric conspiracy. While incels plot violent revenge on women and pickup artists, PUAs, deploy predatory tactics to game women into having sex with them, the men of the MGTOW attempt to eschew relationships with women altogether. They are literally going their own way, far, far away from any women at all. Yeah, women like the writer of this article love to use the words like incels. It's funny, like I imagine if I had any dealings with the woman who wrote this article, she would call me an incel, and then once I proved to her, if I proved to her that that I have a lot of sex, she wouldn't know what to do. She'd call me either another thing, like she'd call me a misogynist, or it's like these people, like these idiots, these leftists, they can't have it both ways. It's like they don't know what to do. Like if you they're so full of contradictions, but it's a thing I've noticed, actually. It's a thing I've noticed with either like white knights and feminists. So when you disagree with a lefty, basically, they'll call someone like me an incel. Like they'll say that, and it's like absurd, because I mean I can just. But then even if I prove to them that that I'm extremely far from an incel, then they'll come up with some other words to like insult me, like kind of like spell words to try and like they're throwing like shit to try and make it stick on you. It's not. There's no meaning behind it. It's just they're thrown around like insults. It's like when you were in elementary school and someone called you gay, or you called someone gay. They're not. You weren't like they're not. There's no meaning behind it. Like the kid that was being called gay, or he wasn't gay, or there's no like. It's just an insult. Um, but it's just funny, and I've noticed that the men that the kind of guys, the kind of weak, twerpy, like male feminist kind of guys that throw around the word incel, they're far closer to being incels themselves, like way, way closer, like insane. Like there's so much. It's like projection. It's all projection, and it's very funny. So, although some MGTOW maintain platonic relationships with women and others have one night stands or visit sex workers, many prefer to abstain from sex, a process referred to as going monk. This is too much for some members of the wider manosphere. The blogger Matt Forney, notorious for posts such as "Why Fat Girls Don't Deserve to Be Loved" and "The Necessity of Domestic Violence," wrote that men going their own way is no way for men to go, and mocked MGTOWs as a cult for lonely virgins. Yeah, a lot to unpack there, a lot going on there, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was why fat girls don't deserve to be loved. That's funny, but the necessity of domestic violence. Don't know if I agree with that. Um, I don't agree with violence in any sense. I mean, the thing is, um, self defense is necessary. I mean, you know, you can. Who said it? I don't know. I heard who. I think I saw. I think it might have been Richard Cooper. I think he wrote something along the lines of, can't remember the exact quote, but it was like, you can't call yourself peaceful unless you are capable of extreme violence. And if you're not capable of extreme violence, you're basically just harmless. You're harmless. It doesn't mean you're peaceful, because you know you have to be capable of violence in order to defend yourself, so you can call yourself peaceful. And um and then you can show virtue by that, by not acting out now, by not, that's why, you show restraint. You don't you know uh necessarily beat the shit out of people that are way weaker than you. But yeah, the thing is, apparently, statistically, women are the ones that act out in domestic violence more than men. But men are just the stronger, more lethal, obviously, but just stronger. Like, it's just like, basically, when a man fights a woman, it's like it's like a man fighting a child. Like, there's no, there's nothing. It's just, obviously, if it it's just, there's no competition, basically. um you know uh it's just like, everyone in here gets that. Everyone understands that. um everyone, yeah. But it goes on. But this isn't an obscure internet cul-de-sac. MGTOW.com alone has almost 33,000 members. Its forums, for men only, contain conversations on more than 50,000 topics, with more than 790,000 replies, which range from advice on divorcing as cheaply as possible to lurid stories about women who have found particularly inventive ways to murder their husbands. The site also lists 25 video channels between them and have more than 730,000 followers, and their videos have been viewed a total of 130 million times. Well, that shows you how fucking polarized Western society has become, because, like, obviously, these kind of channels and these kind of groups don't just spring up for no reason. Like, there's obviously something wrong. Like, there's obviously, these groups aren't as big in, I'm not fully aware, but I've always said, I've talked about it before, like, there's not this polarization in Japan. There's not this hatred. There's not this tension between men and women in Japanese society. Um, not at all to the same degree. There's obviously there's obviously this, here and there, but not on the whole attack, Japanese media doesn't constantly attack men, as it stands. But yeah, over on YouTube, one of the best known MGTOW vloggers, who goes by the name of Sandman, has racked up more than 90 million views for videos with titles ranging from "Smart Men Don't Get Married," pretty based, can't disagree with that, to criticize her, and she will destroy your career. Could happen. I mean, certainly could. The MGTOW philosophy is elaborately laid out on the MGTOW.com website, which summarizes it as a statement of self-ownership where the modern man preserves and protects his own sovereignty above all else. Drawing on snippets of quotes and newspaper clippings, the site claims that MGTOW dates back to great men including Schopenhauer, Beethoven, Galileo, and even Jesus Christ. Women are essentially portrayed as parasites riding on the coattails of men who have throughout history been responsible for far greater miracles of science, discovery, and human endeavor. Well, you can't disagree with that. It's like, yes, men and women are just different. We obviously need women to procreate, and they take care of certain things that men can never do. But this is you just can't be denied that men have contributed to science and discovery more than women. I mean, it's just a fact. By shaking women off, it is explained men will be free to pursue even higher achievements. So yeah, it just, I don't know. It goes on. It goes on and on. It's obviously not saying anything good about it. Yeah. But see, Spark55 says, disagree, the black pill dudes are more MGTOW incels. Black pill is definitely that's just like a hopeless pill. It's not like there's nothing to be gained from black pill. C. Joel says, you're gonna call Rolo MGTOW. Now Rolo's married. Rolo is married, I do believe. So he could not be classed as MGTOW. Yeah, but I mean, it's the same. I mean, even in the red pill, people it can be called like red pill masturbation, where people just get stuck in the same ideas and don't try and progress out of them, So it's I always talk about it's important to also take action to improve your life, to get better and better, rather than just consuming content. Because if you just consume content and don't take action, nothing's going to happen. It's not like you're just going to be like consuming content, and you're not going to improve, and you're not going to get better. And that's why I always say someone who goes out and does day game and tries to game and pick up women without consuming any content will be better than someone who just consumes content and does very little day game, because it's all, the more action you take, the better. But ideally, you want to consume good content that will help you improve and also take action. That's a winning combination. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna cut it there. But I might finish the rest of that article tomorrow night. I have to go and take care of some business. But I will be back to tomorrow night for another episode of Player Life. So there's smash the like button. Do me a solid. Smash the like button on the way out. Write a comment. Helps me with the algorithm. Check out the links in the description. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. So peace out, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.